guys, so welcome to episode 2 of the Overlandkings Tamaraw build. Just to recap, for the first episode that we've done, we actually tested the Tamaraw on how it is on stock form. And we try to build on what we feel would be needed so that it becomes a better car all around for its intended purpose. So what we have here now is the upgraded version of our first stage of what we feel is needed for making the Tamaraw an essential vehicle for your adventures. So first off, let's go on with the roundabout. First off, we put a 2-inch lip suspension from the TJM XGS line, which actually should be what I think how the car should have come out from the dealership. And next up, the stance of that car now, it looks perfectly normal. It has the right height. It's a more present car. It's a bigger profile for the vehicle. So I think that suits the need and the look of the new Tamaraw. Next up is, this may not be the most popular choice, but we did put in 18-inch Black Rhino Mozambiques. And believe it or not, we put in high-weight tires because again, we're envisioning this car as a more utilitarian car. Therefore, it should fit a certain budget when you build this vehicle for its intended purpose. But at the same time, still looks cool when you're done building it. So we put the 18-inch rims. We just feel like it's a present tire, but I think a 17-inch with the right offset will still do the job for the Tamaraw. We're running the Bridgestone Dweller HTs. So these are actually the more run-of-the-mill tires that you would get. That's easier to source in the market, even in Overlandkings. But I think it gets the job done and it has the right look. Move on the outside. The first thing that we put in the vehicle is a Line-X spray. I feel like this is very essential in building a car because the Line-X gives you the protection for whatever you need to load on the Tamaraw. And from our experience, we've already taken this to Crystal Beach, to OK Camp Out. It's a 0 scratches on the bed. It's gonna last a lifetime when you put the spray on, and it's just a good investment for the vehicle. So that rounds up the outside. Maybe the other accessories that are overlanding related, we'll show you in another episode. But moving on to the essentials, let's see the inside of the vehicle. There are a couple of things that you can consider when you want to build the Tamaraw inside. First off, I think you stick with the stock seats because of the thin profile of the seats. It gives you a little bit more rake. When we upgrade to a very bulky seat, you lose the comfort of driving it on a long haul. But I do believe on protecting it. So we have added the Recreational Plus. It is a premium seat cover that actually it's just like a shirt that you put on, but it's weatherproof and it has a water beading capability. So if you're on a job site or you're using it more as a utilitarian vehicle, it will protect your seats from damage, and it's easier to wash with this type of seat covers. And not to mention, it actually looks pretty cool on this interior with the logos and the stitching and the piping on the King seat cover. Also, what we added to finish up the look is the Recreational's matting from Australia also. This actually is very needed on a Tamaraw, and it's actually a flexible type of matting because you could just fit it on any vehicle. But this is perfect for that little touch of Australian feel, especially when we build vehicles. Other stuff that we might want to add as we go on is probably little stuff like probably the USB ports, which we already have on hand. But you do have a lighter plug. You can just plug in your normal cigarette lighter with a USB with a Type-C or a Type-A plug. So that rounds up the interior. For the second phase of the build of this Tamaraw, as we go on, we're going to show you the overlanding gear or the added accessories to make it for an adventure. So that's it for the interior of the Tamaraw FX. Alright, so we're going for a quick drive after doing all the phase 2 upgrades that we've done on the Tamaraw. And first things first is with all the little things that we've added, all the dampening, at least with the matting and the seat covers, it's a little bit more quiet on the inside, and it's just a little bit more present. Now, a lot of guys talk about the NVH of this car. I do agree. It's a little bit on the noisier side than what your normal car because of the lack of deadening. So one suggestion probably that we're still thinking about doing is to add a sound deadening all around. We could always take out the roof, take out the matting, and then we'll be able to add sound deadening materials for this. We'll make the cabin more quiet. But what I want to focus on right now, which is the major change, is the suspension. It's a TJM XGS, and we added a load spring in the back for the added height. To be specific, it adds roughly about 1 to 1.5 inch of lift. It's not a complete 2 inch, but with the bigger tire size that we put in, we're at about 40 millimeters after all of the upgrades we've done. And the first impressions is it turns the Tamaraw into a daily driver. Wow, you know. One more hump. So, if you see the first video we've done, it's almost intolerable or unbearable to drive on a daily basis if on the stock suspension, if you're not loaded in the back. Because of, again, the design of the Tamaraw, it's designed to be loaded, so you really get kicked around. With the XGS, this is from an actual demo yesterday with our friends and clients. One actually commented that it's very near a stock Fortuner. Now, that's nothing to write home about being a stock Fortuner, but considering it's a Tamaraw and we have nothing loaded on the back, from unbearable to a tolerable SUV ride is a big gap. So I do think this is an essential upgrade if you have a Tamaraw. I think the XGS suspension from TJM is an essential upgrade to make this a more livable car. Even if you're not using this as a leisure vehicle, it just makes it a more drivable vehicle when you don't have anything on the back. But last of that setup is even with the load, this car would be able to handle because of the added leaf spring that we added. So you could easily still have the same loading capacity for the intended purpose of this vehicle. So that's my quick evaluation after the phase 2 upgrades that we've done. And you know, guys, I think it's important when you're modifying, you modify to its intended purpose. That's our style. There are a lot of styles of Tamaraw that are coming out right now, and that's okay. You know, everybody has their own way of building a vehicle, and that's totally fine. That's called taste, and that's called preference. Here at Overlandkings, our style is modify it to what and how you want to use the vehicle. Aesthetically pleasing, yes, but aesthetically pleasing without compromising the use. And for this particular purpose, yes, maybe we could use it for overlanding, but the reality of this vehicle is it's actually a 4x2, so there will be a lot of limitations in terms of where we're going to be able to take this. So it's a more leisure vehicle. And one other thing to consider, the Tamaraw. Ooh, sarap. The Tamaraw. Ooh, much better. Totally much better. Okay, it's still bumpy, okay? But it's not painful. Ano ba yan? Yeah. So, hindi naman siya air ride. Pero hindi siya masakit. I think that's the term. So finishing this off, you know, the look of the car when we set up a vehicle is dependent on, at least an Overlandking style, is how we want to build the vehicle. Our style is how we intend to use it. And for us, this will be used as a utilitarian vehicle, so we cannot compromise the load capacity. But we like the look and the style, hence we added the lift and the rims and tires to make it look nice. Now, we did put mud terrains and all that because that will make the car even more noisy for us. So we're not gonna take this trailing, so we do believe the highway or all-terrain tires at most would be more than enough. So that's how we feel the Tamaraw should be built. But you know, on the next episode, we are still gonna build it as an overland rig for the occasional camping, right? Still be able to do the basic camping if you go out. Still be able to take it for a weekend after a long week of putting stuff on the back. That's the next phase. So stay tuned as we do the next episode of our Tamaraw build, this time for overlanding. So guys, at this point, if you haven't liked and subscribed, do check out the links here, up, maybe here and here. Click it out, unsubscribe and like, and do follow us on YouTube and all our socials. So this is Joel Pedro. See you guys in the next one.